In the next few minutes, we're going to take a look at the top 5 MCU Marvel trilogies ranked from the least good to the best. What's up, B-Roll fans? Welcome back to B-Roll Entertainment. I am Clovis, your host, alongside with Bruce. In today's movie section, we're going to take a look at the top 5 MCU and Marvel movies trilogies. Now, a trilogy in our case is a group of 3 related movies. For example, there is Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Marvel has made 7 trilogies, but in our case, we're going to focus on the best 5 and why they are the best. Without any further ado, let's dig in. Number 5. The Wolverine, aka James Howlett, is the most adored among all the mutants in the X-Men franchise. While Wolverine has appeared in plenty of other films, he does have his own standalone trilogy, which is a real mixed bag in terms of quality. It goes from X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is one of the most poorest superhero films of all time, released in 2009. The second film of the trilogy was The Wolverine, released in 2013, which was a big improvement compared to the first one. And lastly, we have Logan, which was a sublime and a success in all the trilogy, which gave it a good ending overall. Hugh Jackman does a great job in all 3 films, really investing and committing to making Wolverine feel important. However, the movie feels like a 3 isolated film, with a real lack of storyline connecting them to make a trilogy feel like one long story. There are some great moments throughout, particularly in Logan, but when looking at it as a trilogy, things do fall a little flat, which makes me rank it as number 5. Number 4, we have Thor Trilogy. Thor, the son of Odin and Prince of Asgard, also has his own trilogy. Their order goes from Thor, which was released in 2011, followed by Thor The Dark World, released in 2013, and Thor Ragnarok, released in 2017. Letting fans know that we didn't include the latest installment of Thor, titled Love and Thunder. Each movie feels totally different, and Thor himself is vastly different in each movie, which makes sense in terms of his character growing, but means that the movie feels disjointed. The original 2 movies are both okay, and they build the world nicely, but they never quite feel like they get to the same level as the other MCU movies. Yet, the 3rd installment is easily the strongest outing for Thor, yet it is so unique and different it feels more like a standalone than part of a trilogy of films, which makes me rank it as a 4th trilogy. Number 3, we have Ironman. The most loved Avenger and MCU character of all time is arguably Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. The man has the movie that kick-started it all as far as the MCU is concerned. The original Iron Man still stands up as one of the strongest Marvel movies ever made. However, the following sequels saw a real drop in quality, and a big part of that was a lack of convincing and entertaining villain, which has been an issue for Marvel overall. The order of Iron Man movies goes from the first Iron Man, released in 2008, followed by Iron Man 2, released in 2010, and Iron Man 3, released in 2013. However, something that this trilogy does very well is building the story of Iron Man and Tony Stark as a person. The character arc is incredibly strong throughout the movies, and he really does change as a person, having to take stock of who he is and how much the suits mean to him in comparison to his family. That is what makes his trilogy a strong one, with Robert Downey Jr. putting in a great performance in all of them. Number 2, we have the Spiderman trilogy. We are not talking about the Sam Raimi's trilogy or the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, no. After Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, MCU took back the rights to create their own Spider-Man trilogy, which gave the most earning trilogy of the list. Yes, I'm talking about billions and billions. The character is introduced in Captain America Civil War and then goes on to himself as his own titled films from 2017 to 2021. Their order begins from Spider-Man Homecoming, released in 2017, and Spider-Man's Far From Home, released in 2019, and then we have Spider-Man No Way Home, which was released in 2021. Yeah, the banger. The first two movies were based on how Peter Parker was adapting his superhero life and hanging on to Mr. Stark's mentorship, even after his death in Endgame. The third installment, however, was a banger, which introduced us to the multiverse and gave a conclusion to Spider-Man character development and backstory, giving him room for more Spider-Man movies to come in the future. Now, before we jump to number 1, if you're liking this video, you might want to go ahead and hit that like button and feel free to subscribe. Are you ready for number 1? Me too. Number 1, we have the Captain America trilogy. Steve Rogers, aka the first Avenger, aka the Captain America, has the best trilogy in the whole MCU. Starting from Captain America the First Avenger, released in 2011, followed by Captain America the Winter Soldier, released in 2014, and lastly the top hit Captain America Civil War, released in 2016, and it was the best in the trilogy. The ultimate hero who never does any wrong has produced the single greatest trilogy in Marvel history. Unlike the other examples on this list, there isn't a bad movie within this trilogy, with the quality being incredibly high for all these 3 films from start to finish. The action throughout the movies is gripping and the tone flows nicely from one film to the next one. There is a political storyline mixed in with superhero action that grounds these movies in reality. Captain America grows massively as a character, with his relationship with Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, being the prime focal point of the trilogy, which tells a beautiful story within itself. All of these contribute to me ranking Captain America trilogy as number 1. That was it, folks, our ranking of top 5 MCU Marvel trilogies. As we head to the end of our video, leave a comment and tell us which one you like the most and what you want us to cover the next time. If you're new here, I would recommend you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notification to keep up with our entertaining content here at B-Roll Entertainment. See you in the next video. I, Clovis, I'm signing out.